When you notice an upset, ask yourself what role imagination plays in the upset. Get yourself out of the imagination into thinking about something real in the present moment. For example, you notice that you are afraid of your driver's test or the dentist. Notice how imagining that you are going to fail the test or have a terrible experience at the dentist is involved in the upset you're feeling at that moment. When you notice the role of imagination, get out of the imagination into something in the present, such as, now I'm eating my breakfast. The human imagination is wonderful. Because of its powers, artists can create and athletes can mentally rehearse their moves. Speakers can go through their remarks in their heads, and we can all use our imagination to prepare for the future. So what is the problem? The problem is our lower self uses the imagination to torture us. We are approaching some event, and in our minds, we have already failed. The beasts in the basement take our imagination and use it against us. Perhaps you remember the comic strip in which a man was on his way to ask a favor of his friend, and as he walks, he's imagining that the friend is going to refuse his request. So he starts to get angry. In his imagination, the friend is very rude and unpleasant, so he gets even more angry. When the two finally meet face to face, he says nothing, but just hauls off and punches him, stomping off in righteous indignation. This is, of course, fiction, but there's enough truth in it to make us laugh. Often we're upset not by the events themselves, but by what we imagine an event is going to be. We anticipate a problem and then become worried as if what we imagine is going to take place in the future. And we experience it as actually happening now. We create a picture in our mind of what another person will do or what we ourselves will do, and sometimes we can torture ourselves and make up all kinds of theories about what people think of us or what we think of ourselves. And of course, we can imagine what's going to happen accurately based on the immediate past. We have a certainty about what's actually going to happen. However, remaining in our imagination about it still is torture. And the task still will be to get out of the imagination and get into the present moment to relieve ourselves of the distress. So the point of this task is first to notice, in a time of upset, what part imagination is playing in your feelings and thoughts. Then the second thing to do is to bring yourself into the reality of the present moment. And you will notice that things change. So the task is, when you notice an upset, ask yourself what role imagination plays in the upset. Get yourself out of the imagination into something real in the present.